I am just going to go to the garden center and get myself a package of bean seeds. Oh well, maybe I'll take a jade, could make a nice video. I can't leave this one behind. Do you have this problem too? In the end, it does give you some nice trees. In this video, I'm not going to work on the jade. I'm going to show you how to deal with the Picea like this. I'm going to prune it out. I'm going to let it recover, and the end of the video might very well be in fall. The spruce, it is of a cultivar. Let's see, does it say? Nope, it just says spruce cultivar. Clearly, if you look at the label, it's been sitting in the store for quite a long time. And you can also see that at the lower branches. The lower branches are very, very weak. Some of them have started to die off. They're not growing all that much. All in all, if left in place, this probably would slowly decay further. The top would get stronger, the lower branches get weaker, and it would slowly die off. There is a big benefit. There's a good thing about the tree. Trunk line. The trunk is quite heavy, and I will show you later on in the video. It curves a little bit to the right, and then it comes back to the left. So in the end, it will probably make a bonsai sitting a little bit at an angle. Not decided yet, but this is what I'm thinking. So what we need to do, lower branches are weak for two reasons. First of all, it is shading. This was sitting in a very dense bed of trees, and therefore the lower branches don't get any sun because they're covered by the upper branches. So it's going to go back into the sun. Slowly over a week or two, I'll move it into full sun. Next to this, I need to trim back all this growth on top, and I'm going to remove everything back to forks of 2. That way I'll probably lose about a third to a quarter of the foliage in this tree. It will create more light on the inside, and spruce, once it is healthy, will backbud on older wood. I'll fertilize it a lot. I'll keep good track of watering, and then by the end of summer, hopefully, the lower branches will have gotten a little bit stronger, and I can think about designing a tree out of this. Let's get started. As said, it's spruce, and spruce will bud back on the older wood. As long as the tree is healthy on top, it will bud back. So I'm not concerned with where the buds are in the tree. Naturally, trim the top much stronger than you trim the bottom. In fact, when the branches are so weak in the bottom, we don't trim the bottom branches. But the top needs to be reduced drastically so that any root pressure that is down there goes into the weaker branches on the bottom. A lot more light, a lot more air. Let me also lop out these older branches. Leave a little stub, because later on we might want to create a little yin out of them. As we don't have a final design yet, it's always good to leave bits and pieces of that wood. Removing the debris makes the tree look better. Gives you a better overview of everything else that's happening. Also, it increases the airflow, which is good for the overall health of the tree. I took out long branches, so I cut back, I cut back, I cut back, I cut back. So I would like to share with you what has happened since. And what has happened since is that in the top of the canopy we see very big buds swelling up. But the lower branches, which I really want to keep for the later design, are not responding all that well. So we are now in the middle of summer. There's still a bit of time until fall comes, and I really want to take advantage of the rest of the growing season. So what I'm going to do today, I'm going to select branches that are in the canopy. I'm going to take out the ones that I really don't need, in the hope that the absence of foliage higher up in the tree triggers a response lower down, so that the branches lower down will start budding again, and in springtime hopefully we will have some new buds on these branches so they can start developing this tree. Now if we look at this tree, and I think you have the front almost in front of you like this. You see the trunk going up, curving a little bit to the right, even more. And one of these branches here is going to be the eventual top. What you'll also see is that there's a few thick branches all the way in the top that we don't really need. In fact, they are competing with some of the younger branches that are in the canopy as well. So by taking away these thicker branches, I hope that over time I will get smaller branches. That means clipper time. So what we have here is a very thick, healthy branch with lots of backbudding, but it is way too thick for this position. You see here there's lower branches that are much thinner. Here there are thinner branches. This creates a lot of light, of course, in the canopy. This section here is very cluttered. There are 1, 2, 3, 4 branches at the same height, and then there's 1, 2, 3, 4 in a cluster. This we might be able to use. There's a very nice young bud sitting right there. So that would mean that this one below will have to go as well. As always, leave little stubs, so later on you have the option to create deadwood out of it. Back to a full frontal look, and we see that this branch is actually just coming straight at us, and that's no good in no way at all, so it's going to go. So let's take a look at the top of the tree, and what we see here is that there's a big branch going to the right, which could be a continuation of the trunk line, and there's a thinner branch going to the right, which could also be a continuation of the trunk line, and there's a top that could also be a continuation of the trunk. Bit of a difficult decision, but this one going to the right is actually quite big already, and there's nothing happening above, because if we keep this as the top, then we have to remove everything here. So I'm going to remove the big trunk line. It is always good to remember that when you are growing a bonsai is actually quite flat. The sides are much wider than the tree is deep. So you need foliage in the back, otherwise it just becomes a two-dimensional image. You need some foliage in the back, but these are all quite long. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to reduce these even further. I've seen that this branch here has made a back bud, so I'm going to chop it to this next point. I'm going to remove this long side branch, and I'm going to remove the end here. Having done that, I can remove some of the short branches here, making it more compact already. And then we look at one branch down, and we see that there's a side branch here that is quite thin, and I could connect, actually I can remove all the way in the back here, creating a lot of light lower down, getting us to the lowest branch here, which is actually very weak. It doesn't have any buds. There's a lot of dead branches. So I'm not going to remove anything, because this lower branch I want to make relatively stronger than the upper branches. Now let's do the same thing here. These are all young branches, these are all young branches, so that's all okay. Now here we have a somewhat older branch, and there's a three-way intersection. I'm going to just cut it very short here. Same here, remove it a little bit. But this is all still quite weak, and it needs more time to backbud before I can remove a lot more. Otherwise I might lose the branches completely. This one I can still prune back a little bit, because it was a strong branch. Guess that's it. This is a reasonably nice thin branch for the top as well. But here there's a very big one, and this one is a very big one as well. And in fact, this one I don't need, because there's a small one above and there's a thicker one here. This one I don't really need, because there's a big one down here. But I don't want to risk this branch, so I'm for now just going to cut it back to a stump. And then I'll see later on what I'm going to do with this one. Come on. Same on the other side. Think backbudding, think taper. Maybe I should put the scissors away and leave it at this. This should be it for now. Now the tree should recover. So I guess that's it. This is all that I took off from the tree. And that took all of maybe 10-15 minutes. And for now, that's all the work I'm going to do. You now can see from the trunk, nice movement all the way to the right, and the tip of the trunk, the tip of the tree sitting right here. This is going to be the future canopy. These are going to be shortened hopefully next year, assuming that I will get some new buds on these old branches by removing everything on top. I hope that I will achieve that. The tree is in full health. I've not worked on the roots this year, so more fertilizer, more sun, more water, and hope for the best. This is one way to start developing Picea from garden center material. Prune out everything that you definitely don't need. Then take the time to wait for it to backbud. Maybe in fall I will repot this one. And in spring I'll do a light wiring to see where this goes.